Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. So, welcome to AlexaDevelopers SRM's Day 1 of the Skilltober Fest. And I'm Samvartika Mishra, your business associate here. So, before we actually start the session, let me tell you about the club. So, Alexa Developers SRM was founded in February 2020 with a goal to achieve a community of voice first developers, the ones leveraging voice platforms like Alexa to build products. Since the inception, we have delivered knowledge imparting online and offline events. And this is the first of its kind. So, here at Skilltober, on this day one session, you all will be learning about open source development with our technical associates Sagnik Biswas and Anirudh Chatterjee. So, Anirudh, can you please take over?
Thank you so much, Samvartika. So, hello everyone. I am Anirudh Chatterjee, and I am a technical associate at Alexa Developers SRM. Now, I will be covering the topics open source, version control, Git, and GitHub, while after me, Saknik will be showing you a demo of how to build your own Alexa skill and contribute to open source. So, our event is Skilltober, and as the name rhymes with it, we will be having a special emphasis on Hacktoberfest. So I really hope that you'll enjoy this session, and by the end of it, you should be able to contribute to open source, to Hacktoberfest especially, all by yourself. So let's get started. Now, I've used this word open source for a couple number of times, right? What does it exactly mean? Well, open source is nothing but, let's say, software which is on the public domain. When you make a software, let's say the Google Meet which you're using, somebody has to code it. A team of developers coded it using some language, maybe Java or Python. We don't know that. So sitting in the Silicon Valley, they made this product, but the code it resides with Google, right? It's not available to us in the public domain. So this kind of software, we call it proprietary. Something which is not in the public domain, something which is owned by a person or an entity or an organization. But sometimes developers make this code public. They push it to platforms, and anybody can view it, edit it, and distribute it. If a software whose code is available in the public and you're free to alter and distribute it under your name, it becomes an open source software. So as you can see on the screen, we have got plenty of examples of open source softwares. You've got Wikipedia, you've got VLC Media Player, you've got GIMP, and there's an endless list of these kind of softwares. Why do we prefer open source softwares? Because it has got a lot of benefits, right? If you are sharing your code with the community, any feature requests or any bugs that your program might have, the community can interact with you on it. So it establishes communication between the developers and the persons who are using it. And it helps a lot in the software development process. You get actual real-time feedback from people. So this is one of the huge benefits of why people opt for open source software. And since you're free to alter the code and distribute it yourself, you get better versions of it. Like most of the times, you get better versions of the software which other people can use. And open source software is not only limited to like VLC and Wikipedia and stuff like that. Even Amazon Alexa itself uses open source. When you're creating an Alexa skill, you've got templates. Templates are nothing, they are like blueprints for the skills. They literally exist as a blueprint, and you take them, you modify them, and you make your own skill. So templates are just starting points for making skills, you can say like that. You don't have to code from scratch if you use a template. And these templates are hosted on GitHub for the entire world to see. And the entire world can not only see it, they're free to use it for their own Alexa skills. This is a beautiful example of open source and how Amazon Alexa uses the power of open source for these kind of templates and enhance the quality of skills that people make. Now, open source is fine, but another important concept with open source is something which we call version control. Now, this particular guy, version control, is very powerful. And you will not exactly need this for Hacktoberfest. You will also need it throughout your life if you're going for software development as your career. Because Most of the companies, like 99% of the software companies, use some form of version control for their software development process. Why do they prefer version control? We will take a look at it. So before we get to the fact why is version control needed, let us see what is version control. So you can see on my screen, there's an image and there are 3 files. So let's name it 1 and 2 and 3. Pardon me for my drawing, they're not that good, but I think we can understand. So let's say there is this document, this particular document, file 1, and I make an edit to it. I make a change. It could be a text document. Let's say I'm editing the lines. It could be a Java file. I'm changing the codes. It could be an image. Image I made using Photoshop. I might be changing the image itself. But the thing to note is that I'm working on the same file. So on the same file, I make these 3 edits: edit 1, edit 2, edit 3. Now, without version control, what exactly happens is when you save the file, you lose a track of your previous edit. Sure, you can press Ctrl plus Z and it will undo the undo to your last action. But when you close the file, it's forever lost. So if I make this change today, if I make the edit 1 today, I close the file and I open it tomorrow again, and I make something as 2 and I save it, I will not be able to go back to version 1. This is kind of a machine that moves only forward. It goes only in the forward direction. So you can jump from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, but you can't turn back. Why do you want to turn back? It may be for a couple of reasons. Maybe version 2 was perfectly working, then you wrote something in version 3, it crashed the entire program. So you want to go back to version 2. But it's not possible because the edits are lost. This is the problem that developers face a lot. Not only developers, like everyday people like you and me, we face a lot. Even if it's a text document for our college assignment and we do something which we shouldn't do, we cannot go back in normal scenarios. So to mitigate this problem, to navigate around this problem, people came up with a solution which we name as version control. What version control does is this particular line, tracking every edit you make. This is the only concept of version control which you need in your life. It keeps a track of the edits you make. So there's one particular file, even if you make 3,000, 4,000 edits, it will keep a track of all the edits you make. And since these tracks are present, since there's a history of all the edits which we're making, it allows us to go back to a previous version of the file without any hassle. We can easily jump from 3 to 2 or 2 to 1. We can easily go back in time with version control since it's recording what are the edits we're making to this file. This is the reason why people tend to use version control, and it's one of the most integral parts you'll ever find in software development. So version control is a concept, right? It's a concept in which every edit is tracked. How do you implement this concept in a bunch of computers? You can't ask a computer, hey, I know this, so you need to do that. Can't do that, right? So there has to be a system to implement it. To implement the concept of version control, we have something called VCS. VCS stands for Version Control System. It makes sense to implement version control. We have a version control system. Now, VCS are of couple number of types. There are localized VCS, there are centralized VCS. But the one which we'll be looking at right now is called distributed VCS. So distributed VCS is pretty powerful. It's majorly used all over the world. I have, to be very honest, I've been in software development for quite some number of time, and I've always used distributed VCS. I've never used centralized VCS for that fact. So why do we use this distributed VCS? Let's say you have a laptop. This is an L, not a right angle, and this is your desktop. That's a D. So you have a laptop, you have desktop, and this is S, which stands for a server computer. So it's a server. You can see it over here. There is one file. So I'm working on my laptop. I wake up in the morning. I'm working on my laptop and I make some changes to my file, like version 1, version 2. So I'm working on the file, I'm editing it a lot number of times, and version control keeps a track of these particular files. So it keeps a track of version 1, it keeps a track of version 2. Now, if I stop right here, what happens? Whatever happens on my laptop stays on my laptop. So whatever edits I make over here stays over here. Like the histories of those edits stay over here. In the afternoon, when my laptop runs out of charge and I go to my desktop, I will not be able to get these versions because they are staying on my laptop, right? I told you, whatever happens on the laptop stays on the laptop. So there is no way for my desktop to actually access these particular histories. So what do? I interconnect both of them, right? So as I interconnect both of them, what happens? They're synchronized with each other. So whatever is present on my laptop, the record of histories on my laptop is synchronized with my desktop as well. So I can easily work on file with my desktop as well because it has got all the version histories that I require for version control. I can move back in time very easy on both my laptop and desktop. There is another problem to this concept. How many devices do you want to connect? You have a laptop, you have a desktop, you have a mobile phone, you have other developers on your team who are using their own laptops and desktops, and you're working on the same file, the same project. How do you guys connect with each other? Like you cannot go on connecting 10 devices at a stretch. Every time somebody new comes in, you connect the device to the network. Makes no sense. For that, we have what we call this server. So this server, it's like let's say it's a roundtable conference. This server sits in the center, and every participant in the roundtable conference is connected to that server. And this connection is synchronized across all devices. So whatever happens on a laptop is synchronized with the server. Whatever a friend does, whatever a co-developer does, it is also synchronized with the server. Whatever anyone does is synchronized with the server. So you just connect every devices to these servers, and every change, every versions are synchronized with each other. Since these changes are distributed to all the participants, we call it a distributed VCS. Okay, shouldn't have cut that line, but anyways. So in very short, distributed VCS is nothing but a network of devices, a network of a server and lots of devices which synchronize the changes with each other. That is the basic concept behind distributed VCS. And one benefit of this is even if you lose one device, so if your laptop is stolen, let's say, you still have one complete working version on a desktop. If any of the devices are damaged, you still have a proper complete version of a desktop. This increases your data resiliency and data security. You are not dependent on one particular device because everyone has the same copy of changes, and you can very easily restore them from one device to another. This is why distributed VCS is the most widely used version control system in the world. And an example of this system will be Git. So Git is a distributed version control system. So what we learned till now is version control is a concept. It keeps a track of all your edits. Version control system is the implementation of the concept. It is how a computer exactly keeps a track of your files. Distributed version control system is one type of VCS in which there is one server and a roundtable conference, and all the devices are connected to that server and they synchronize with each other. They talk to each other, communicate with each other. So at the end of the day, everyone has the same history of all the changes which everyone has made. So everyone is on the same page. Git is one example of that distributed version control system. So Git itself is open source. Yes, it was made by Linus Torvalds in the year 2005. Linus Torvalds is the creator of the Linux operating system kernel, which I seriously love a lot. So as with Linux, Git itself is open source and is actively maintained. So Git gets proper updates and patches. Git uses a snapshot-based system to keep a track of files, and it uses simple commands, which is easy to learn. Now, this snapshot-based system is what Git uses. It uses snapshots. What are these snapshots? I will not be going into the details because it's a bit advanced and we do not want you to become Git masters by the end of this session. No, you don't have to have a PhD with Git. To know how Git works, we just need to know that it has a snapshot-based system. It's what is it? We really don't require at this particular point of time. If you want to read about it, of course, you can go to Git's official website. There are proper documentations. I'll maybe leave a link at the end of this session. You can, of course, read it on your own, but we won't be covering it right now. So we know what Git is. It is a distributed version control system. So let us take a look at the concepts behind Git. So Git operates with three basic concepts. The first one is a modified file. The second one is a staged file. The third one is a committed file. So what is a modified file? Well, the name itself explains it, right? Modified means changed. Whenever you edit a file, whenever you are changing a file, that becomes a modified file, right? Any change, any file, that becomes a modified file. That's it. Nothing more. It's pretty simple. Staged file, no, you do not build a stage and put your file upon it. You don't do that. Stage file is something when you have modified the file, it moves to, let's say, a storehouse, moves to a storehouse. This storehouse is kind of a buffer between concept 1 and concept 3. So the second one is kind of a safe space, a buffer which can store quite a few number of files. Why do we need this? Let's say you're on Amazon, the website Amazon where you shop, not Amazon. Yeah, it's the same company, but I'm talking about the shopping site. You're buying something, not something. It's like Great Indian Sale is coming, so you're pretty much hyped up. You're buying a lot of things now. You do not take one product, buy it. Like you do not take one product, place the order, pay the amount, and then search for new orders. Don't do that, right? Take a product, you place it to the shopping cart. Take the second product, you place it to the shopping cart. Third, to the shopping cart. So whatever products you want to buy, you place it to the shopping cart. You do not buy them directly. This shopping cart is what we call a staging area. So this is what we call a staging area in terms of Git. This staging area is a shopping cart because in a project you certainly won't modify just one file. There will be tens and hundreds and thousands of files maybe to be modified. So all these modifications you do not process them directly. You store them in a shopping cart. So you take a modified file, place them in a shopping cart. In good terms, it's called staging area. And while in the shopping cart, it's called staged file. So the same file from modified file, you place it to the staging area to your shopping cart, and it becomes a staged file. And not a staged file, it can be lots of staged files. So if there are like 10 changes, 10 modified files, so you will have 10 staged files as well. That's a 0. Now your shopping cart is done, you're done shopping. All the products you want are in a shopping cart. Now you will click on buy now and place your cart details and all get the orders placed. This placing of orders in terms of Git is what we call committing. And since the process is committing, what you get at the end is a committed file. You have 10 modified files, you stage them. Committing is kind of, how do I call it? So yeah, when you place order for on your Amazon, you get an order ID, right? An order ID, it contains the details of what are the items there, when you have placed, what's the delivery address, the expected time, and whatever. Particular order ID. This committed file, this committing process also creates an ID. This ID is nothing but a timestamp, like when exactly this operation is happening. So the time now is 5:35. If I commit if I commit some files right now, it will show me 5:35 of this particular day, this particular month, this particular year, and which time zone I'm in, of course. This is what we call a timestamp. Date and time together makes a timestamp. And this timestamp is used to keep a record of all the changes that are made. This timestamp is what Git uses to place your orders, to keep a track of your orders. So you have 10 changes, you place them in a shopping cart staging area, and these are then committed. and you get one version of this. So you get one commit, one single commit with a particular timestamp of 535 of this date, month, and year. And that contains all the items which are placed in a shopping cart, like whatever the changes are placed in a shopping cart. Now, timestamp is important because I told you, you can go back in time, even though it's not possible in life with Git. In a computer system, you can go back in time with files. So this timestamp is used to when you want to go back. If I say Git take me back to 535, it will check which commit matches the 535 timestamp. It will open it and see what are the details of the files you have changed, like how you have changed the files. It will just basically open a shopping cart and see, oh, all right, you have 10 staged files. And it will take those 10 staged files and place it in front of your screen. That is exactly what Git does. Git keeps his records of our file changes as versions or histories, as you might prefer. And if you ask Git, take me back to time, it will go to that particular point of time. It will just search which history matches this timestamp, take it up. Whatever file was inside there, like whatever was inside the shopping cart, it will take it up and place it on your screen. This is how you can go back in time with Git. And these are the three basic concepts. There are, of course, a lot of more concepts, but these are the three basic concepts which you need to get started with Git. If you are still confused with it, not to worry, I will show you how you do it in a computer. So I will exactly be showing you how real life works. But before that, this concept again needs to be understood by the computer. I can't ask a computer add files to my shopping cart. I can't do that. So these concepts use some basic commands to run them. So right now we'll be learning 4 basic Git commands, which will help us to contribute to open source. There are of course lots more commands, but these 4 are the basics, the ones which you'll need. First one is git init. Now, init here stands for initialization. So the whole form for init is initialization. What do we mean by initialization? Git init, it basically initializes a normal folder to a Git folder. Normal folder, like a normal folder. You open your file explorer and create a new folder. That's a normal folder. And Git, of course, will not work on any folder, any random folder on a computer. It can't. It literally can't take up so much space. It can't. That's impossible. So we have a normal folder. When we create a new folder, that becomes a normal folder. If I want Git to work inside that folder, if I want Git to keep a track of whatever's happening in that folder, I'll open up my terminal and I'll use the command git init. I will be opening up my terminal, but for now, let's understand what each command does. So git init changes a folder, a normal folder, into something which Git can track. It can keep a log of, a history. Git clone, it's pretty similar, but pretty different. Git clone also, like the end product of git clone is also a folder which where Git can work, but it does not initialize. It does not turn a normal folder to a Git folder. What it does, there is an already pre-existing folder where Git is working. It will create a copy. Like the word clone means copy. So the word itself explains it, right? Copies. So it will copy a repository. It will copy a folder from somewhere to your device so that you can use Git inside that. This is particularly important, as you'll see like in the second part of our sessions. Our speaker will be showing you how to work with all these commands, how you can actually contribute Hacktoberfest with these commands. But let us understand that git clone creates a copy of a Git folder. Git add, this command is for adding items to shopping cart. Add to cart, this does the same. It adds to the Git cart. Yeah, it's a good name, Git cart. So this Git cart is nothing but what we call staging area. So the people at Git name is staging area. So git add adds a modified file to your Git cart, which is the staging area. Git commit is the command which commits the file. So it records whatever is in your Git cart as a timestamp version. So it maintains the proper timestamp. Now, we understood the concepts. So there's modified file, staged file, and committed file. We understood which command, like what are the commands to do that. The command to state something is add, like add to git cart, and the command to commit something is commit itself. This is the order with which we'll be working on. So the first step is git init or git clone, because both of these commands result in a folder. So this is supposed to be a folder, pretty good one, I guess. So both of these commands result in a folder where git can work. The only difference with initialize, you turn a new empty folder, a fresh folder, into something git can work on. With clone, there already exists a git folder and you just create a copy of it. So by the end of these two commands, at your hand, you have a folder where git can work. So git is very happy with this folder and git can work right over here. Now you make changes to your files. So you're working on a laptop and you make changes on your files. Then you want to add them to the cart, to git cart, our shopping cart. And to add to the shopping cart, the command is git add, right? So git add file name, whichever file you want to add to shopping cart, you will use this command and it gets added. And git commit hyphen message, this is used for committing. So when you're placing an order from a shopping cart, use this command git commit and you get it, right? So this might be pretty difficult to understand. Yes, even I agree. When I started with Git, it was pretty confusing, but not to worry. Together, we'll be seeing how you can actually use Git on your computer. Now, for this, what I have on my screen is the Git bash, the Git CLI terminal. If you don't have Git installed, what you need to do is you need to open your browser. So on Google, you just type in Git, right? When you type in Git, first link, gitscm.com. From here, you can download Git. It's free. It's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's there for all the operating systems. So it doesn't matter which one you want. So you see this button, downloads over here. You click on it and you just download the version of Git for your system. Now, I already have Git installed. The installation is pretty simple. There's nothing. It's even simpler than installing application software. It's just one-click installer. You can say like that. After you're done installing with Git, you will get something like this on your device as well. This is the Git CLI. CLI stands for command line interface. So you can enter commands over here, and Git can understand that. All right, you want me to do this. You want me to do that. Now, if you don't know how bash works, I'll give a pretty basic overview. So like this shows me where I am, right? It might differ from system to system. On Linux and Mac, there's a bit of visual difference, but the concept's the same. So this one shows you where you are, where I am in that matter. So I'm on my desktop. I do not want to work on my desktop. So I want to create a new folder and then I want to work on it. So the command for the same is mkdir. This is not a git command, all right? This is just a bash command. I want to create a new folder and I'm giving the command mkdir, which is make directory, mkdir Alexa, and cd Alexa. So cd stands for change directory. You don't have to understand. There's nothing to understand even. Make directory and change directory. So make directory creates a new directory, change directory changes to the directory you want. So here I made a new folder named Alexa on my desktop. And here I wanted it to go inside that folder, like change the directory to Alexa. And now my location, my working directory is desktop/Alexa. So there's a folder on my desktop Alexa, I'm inside it. And this is the folder which where I'll work upon. Remember, this is a new folder, right? I'm not copying anything from anyone. This is a new folder and I want to work inside of here. So the command for this, like I'm initializing something. I'm initializing a new folder into a folder where Git can work. The command for the same is git init. It initialized. It even gives you a good text. It initialized empty Git repository inside of Alexa. So now Git is pretty hyped up. Git can work perfectly well inside my folder and it will keep a track of whatever I do. What do I do? Let's make a file. For simplicity purposes, I'll be using Notepad, which is the best text editor to get for free. So this is a file. Welcome to Skilltober, right? This is a file. Welcome to Skilltober. This I'm saving inside of my desktop. Here's Alexa, and here I'm naming it sample.txt. What did I do? I did nothing magical. I opened up my notepad. I wrote 2 lines literally, and I'm saving it inside the folder which I've just created. So this is sample.txt. It's present inside of here. If I do a git status, so status, this command needs no explanation, gives you status of like what's happening right now. So git tells me you have got a file. There's a file, but it's untracked. Git is not tracking this file because Git is very obedient. Unless I actually ask it to track something, it won't track it. So Git even suggests me use git add file. So Git is very good. It gives me a syntax of what I should do next. And I will exactly follow Git syntax because Git loves me and I love Git. Git add and file. So the file name here is sample.txt. Right?
Thank you. Huh?
So we had this particular file. I made a new text file, saved it. It's not tracked by default. Git does not do that. And when I do a status, Git tells me I have the file, but I'm not tracking it. You do git add file. I'm telling you to do that, and I'll do exactly that. I'll do the command git add sample.txt and hit enter, and it's done. The job is done. This file is now added to the shopping cart, to git cart. So the command is now git, is it bash or cmd? This is particularly bash, but you can work on cmd as well. Once you install git CLI, you can fire up your command prompt on Windows, or if you're on Mac or Linux, you can open up a terminal. You can literally do this on any terminal. I love bash, but cmd works just perfectly fine. Even PowerShell works with git. So it's your choice. Now we added this file to the shopping cart. Our file is present in the shopping cart. How do I know it's present in the shopping cart? So I'll do a git status. And now, hey, this one is in green. All happy. Everything is happy. We are happy. So this file is here. There are no commits yet. Of course, there is no commit yet. And here you are. You have a file added to your shopping cart. We also have small question. Can I do this in WSL? Windows subsystem for Linux? Yeah. Sure. It works everywhere. It works on Linux, Mac, Windows, literally everywhere. It is very powerful. It even works on cloud terminals as well. So let's not go into that much details, but yes, to your question, the answer is yes. You can work on it. And now what I have in front of me is a beautiful file which is added to my shopping cart. If you want, you can add 10 more files, 100 more files, but I'm literally not going to do that. That's very time consuming. And I don't have any need for that. I want this file to be recorded. I like what the time now is 5:49, and my file is looking like at particular this 5:49 p.m. My file is looking as this, so it has got 2 lines, and I want Git to keep a record, to keep a version of this file as it looks right now. So I want literally Git to take a picture of the file and store it. The command to do that is git commit -m and message here. Git commit does the job. Git commit basically keeps a record of my history, and it's enough to go so. But when you work, you'll have lots of these kind of records, right? You can't just check the time and like this time this file look like this time this file look like that. No. So we use some description like of what this particular change is doing right now. So this message is just for you. You can legit write in anything, even numbers will, any string will go over here. This is for your benefit, your and your team's benefit to exactly know what's happening, what's going on. I'll write this message first commit maybe because this is our first commit. So I'll write this message first commit, hit on enter. and job is done. Now Git stored a record of my file right now. If I do a git log, now git log shows me a list of all the comments I have. This is my name, of course, my email, who did this, who made the history, and I told you it's timestamped. So it shows me exactly even to the seconds. So I made it at 5:50 minutes and 47 seconds. And which time zone I am in. So it's plus 5:30, which means I'm in the IST, in the standard time. So it gives you a proper timestamp of your histories. And how do we know which history is this? First commit. So as we have like all these long list of commits, this message helps you identify which is what, because you can't just check the time and tell, okay, this is what I want. You can't do that. So this is how Git works. You you do initialize Git into a folder, or you clone it, which you'll see in the next part. For now, you initialize Git into a folder, you create files, you edit files, you do anything inside that folder, and you add all of them to the shopping cart. The command to add them to the shopping cart is git add. And when you are done with the shopping cart, when you're done with the shopping, when you want to place your order, you do git commit. And git commit, it will do nothing. You do git commit with a message to help it identify. It will it will do a timestamp, like when is it exactly happening, and it will store your files. How your file looks, it will simply take a picture, and that's all it's about. Git uses a snapshot based system, and snapshot means picture. The word means picture. Git just takes a camera and clicks a picture of your file as the file looked like on 5:50:47 seconds. So this is how Git actually works. This is how we will work with Git. This is how we can use Git to keep a track of all the changes happening in our project. Who is doing the change, when is it happening, and what is the change all about, using the description message we have over here. Can we change the contents of the file? Sure we can. So let me add something here. This is AlexaDevelopers SRM. So I've changed my file, and I'm saving it. If you can't see my control S, so I'm saving it. I've saved this file. The file is changed. The contents are changed. If I do git status now, it tells me, hey bro, you have modified the file. Git knows that whatever was existing beforehand, whatever is existing right now are different. I have modified the contents of the file. So Git tells me you have modified the file and you need to use git add again. You can do it in another way, but let's not go into very deep. Let's do what we already know. So I want to add this to the shopping cart again. So the command is git add. File name is sample.txt because I'm working on the same file. I modified this file and I'm adding it to the shopping cart. Added. Now I'll do git commit message second commit. And it's done. If I do a git log now, it shows me a history. Sorry, git log. It shows me a history of all the commits, all the versions it's storing. So it's telling me on 5:50, does git add modify the file? Git add itself does not modify the file, right? You're shopping, you're on Amazon, and you're buying something. So you choose your product, how it looks, what is the price, if it fits you, and everything, and then you do you add it to the shopping cart, right? Git add is this adding to shopping cart process. So whatever modifications I do it using my notepad or any other stuff you want. Git add simply takes that modified file and adds it to the shopping cart, adds it to staging area. Git add does not touch the file itself. It just transfers. Let's say it copies the file from one place to another. It does not exactly copy, but for understanding, let's say it copies the file from one part to another. It does not touch the file. Now it stores two versions of the same file. So at 5:54, like a minute ago, my file looks with 3 lines. Where is Notepad? Where did you go? Oh, I closed Notepad, not an issue. So my file looks with 3 lines. If I do a cat over here, sample.txt. Cat, you don't understand what cat is. So my file right now contains these 3 lines. At 5:54, I had a version which is storing these particular files. But at 550, I had these two lines. Git stores both the changes. It stores how my file looked at 550. Git stores how my file looked at 554. Even if I like shut down my computer and restart it completely, Git will still store this history. This is the beauty of Git. It keeps a track of the history irrespective of anything. Even if you close your computer, nothing affects it. It will go on keeping this track. And this is how you make new files, you modify new files, and you keep a track with them using Git. So that is the basic concepts of Git. And we for right now we will be keeping only to this concepts. So let's get back. We have gotten our hands dirty. We actually saw what terminal did, how exactly Git works. We tried it ourselves. And now let's take up a look at a cousin of Git, let's say GitHub. GitHub is not Git. Don't get confused. You couldn't do the second commit. All right. So you couldn't do the second commit. You did the first one, couldn't do the second commit. There might be some issue. You can drop what is exactly the issue happening in the chat box after this session. I'll take a look, or my team members are there. They will help you out, but will help you out, not an issue. If you can't do anything, we are there for you. But right now, let's continue with our presentation. So this is GitHub. GitHub is not Git. Don't get confused. Don't say that they're the same thing. No, that's the worst mistake you can make. They are not the same thing. GitHub is implementation of Git in the cloud. So right now, what I did using Git, it happened on my laptop. Even if I like switch off internet, if I disconnect all the wireless and wired communications, and yeah, actually cat is related to concatenation. I'll help you with all these queries during the break time. So let's continue with what our workflow says right now. And we're talking about GitHub. So GitHub is implementation of Git in the cloud. Git can work locally, right? Like even if I disconnect my laptop from the internet, Git will still work. I can add more commits, see the list of commits and everything. It happens all on my computer. GitHub takes these concepts and puts it in the cloud. So it's a service provider that allows me to host all my files in the cloud. And there I can very easily use Git concepts, the concepts of Git, and work in collaboration with other team members and developers. So GitHub uses Git, of course, it uses Git for implementing version control features, and it's currently owned by Microsoft and is heavily used all over the world. So yes, GitHub right now is owned by Microsoft, even though it's free to use. As a normal user, you don't need to shell out any single penny for GitHub. Yes, there is something called GitHub Pro, which costs you money, but that's not for us to discuss, right? GitHub is nothing but a code hosting service. Maybe your what do you call it? Google Drive, right? So it's your Google Drive. Google Drive for your codes basically, and you can use the Git concepts right over there. Now, to use GitHub again, like GitHub is a different thing. It's a service in the cloud. It has got some terminologies for itself. Let's take a look at what do they exactly mean. Repository branch issues pull request. If you have previously worked with this GitHub, you may have heard of these terms, but let us take a look at what exactly these stuff mean. For that, I'll switch on my browser, and here I'll open GitHub. This is AlexaDevelopers SRM. This is our account on GitHub. This is our page, you can say, kind of. So this is how Git looks. Too bad it does not have a dark mode. I would really like that, but anyways, we can do it with it. So you see over here repository, the word repository. Repository is like a folder. It's one single folder which contains all the files needed for a project. So this project, Skilltober Hacktober 2020, this is the repository name. So this is the name of the repository, and inside it It contains all everything you need for your project. So it has got subfolders, it has got some files in it, and these folders even have some files inside of it. So this is what a repository is. It's like a master folder for your entire project content. Branch. The concept of branch is pretty interesting. I'll give you a brief overview because this is not exactly needed for Hacktoberfest. You can do Hacktoberfest without branches even. But to talk about branch, you see the word branch over here. It just says one branch right now. Let's say branch is a workspace, right? You are like a team of 10 developers, 20 developers. You guys are working together on the same project. And this branch allows you to segregate stuff into workspaces. So if I and my team, if Alexa SRM is developing something like a social network, right? We are making our own social network. So I will work on one part of it. Let's say I work on the login, the user authentication part. My friend Sagnik here, he works on say the posts, how the posts are displayed and how it works with it. Other team members work on different modules. So there's one project, one social network, and all of us are working together on particular modules. Now it's very cumbersome if you are working together on the same file, editing, blah, 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 blah. It is really confusing. For that, we have branches. So every one of us will have our own branch. I'll have a branch, Agni will have a branch, someone else will have their own branches. And inside that branch, it's like our closed workspace. It's our cubicle, and we can work inside it without thinking of anything for the time being. So I'll work on my auth system, Sagnik will work on the post system, everybody works on their system. And when everything is ready, we take everything, combine it, like we basically make a khichdi of everything and we put it inside master. So we combine every stuff, every of our work together, and finally we go inside master because like this is the default branch, the main branch, and everything stays over here. So we work in segregated branches, we combine them together and push them to the master. So that master contains the entire social network which we need, right? This concept is not really necessary for Hacktoberfest. So yeah, not that much of stuff. There is something called issues, right? So this is an issue. What is an issue? An issue is an issue. It's literally an issue. There could be a lot of stuff with the projects. Maybe we could be adding some new feature, as this one right here states, addition of new features. My friend Sagnik will be working on this, but to give you a brief idea, issues can be of adding new features, talking about bugs, the existing problems in our code base, talking about the documentation changes, right? So everything falls under these issues. What are the problems or what are the new features that our project needs? And we write an issue. You, the participants of Hacktoberfest, take up an issue like this, and you solve it. So if you want to take up this issue, addition of new features, I don't know what's inside of it, but if you take up this issue, you will be the guy solving this, and that will be your contribution. So if there's a bug, you take up the bug, you take up the issue, and you say, hey, I want to work on this bug. Then you will fix the bug, and that will be your contribution. This part is the exact contribution process. This is how you contribute to open source, and in turn, for this time, you will contribute to Hacktoberfest. Don't fret, Hacktoberfest will be covered in the second fast properly, so we'll actually show you how it works. But it's good to know the concepts behind it. What are the contributions? The contributions are fixing up of these issues, right? And to fix these issues, we have something called PR or pull request. Pull request is nothing much. Let's say it's a request to pull. What is it exactly? I'll do it in a second. For the time being, let me get back to the PPT. So we understood what repositories are. They are the main folders on inside which our program works. Our project file remains, like not program works, my mistake. So all our project files remain inside one repository. Branches are segregations, workspaces for every one of us to work together on particular models of a project together at the same time. Issues literally mean issues. They are something which you need to solve or add or update to contribute to. Pull request is something we have not covered. because we don't know what pull means right now. So let's take a look at what it does. Now, GitHub stays in the cloud, right? And the local Git repository, the one which I made, it stays right here on my laptop. How do you establish a channel of communication between whatever stays on my laptop and whatever stays in the GitHub repository? Like, you cannot directly work on the cloud. You can technically, GitHub is introducing a new feature for that, but let's not talk about it. Let's think we cannot work directly on the cloud. So I need a laptop, a device to work on, which stays with me. It's local to me. We establish a channel of communication between my device and the GitHub repository using two basic stuff. One is push, the other one is pull. What push does, it transfers whatever changes you have done on your local computer to the GitHub repository. So push actually pushes the changes, whatever stuff you're doing, whatever work you have done on your local GitHub repository to the remote GitHub repository. Pull does the opposite of it. So these are supposed to be arrows, even though they don't look like it. So pull, whatever changes are there on the remote GitHub repository, pull takes them and places them on a local computer. So this entire cycle, this is a synchronization cycle. And this synchronization is achieved by pushing the changes from a local repository to GitHub and pulling whatever changes, like there can be other changes like other developers have done. In my case, Sagnik and Rahul and others have done the contributions. And so I want their changes as well. I don't want to work by myself. Like, I want everything, like, we have to be synchronized. This is the concept of distributed version control. Everybody stays on the same page. Everyone is equal. So to pull whatever they have done, to copy whatever they have done to my laptop, I'll use the pull command. And this creates a cycle of push and pull, a synchronization cycle in which you send your own changes and bring their changes back to you. When you request something to be pulled, that becomes a pull request. So in pull request, we are not talking about our GitHub repository and our laptop. This is SRM Alexa's repository, right? We are the owners of it. You want to contribute to it. You are an outsider. You are not. You don't belong to our organization. But this is open source. Anybody can contribute. So can you. If you have made some contributions or made some changes, they are present on your laptop, right? You cannot push directly because you don't have right access to our organization. We can't give everybody access to that. Right? Makes no sense. What you do, you create something called a pull request. You want us to pull your changes into our repository. You are requesting the maintainers of the repository, the owners of the repository, to pull what changes you have made into their project. That is simply termed as pull request. Requesting to pull is pull request. So when you solve an issue, when you actually code or do something on a laptop, you ask the owners that I have made this, please pull it, you pull it to your repositories. And if they see that, all right, this one looks fine, it really works for us, they will accept a pull request and your code will be merged with the owner's repository. And that will end up in a successful contribution. Now, talking about successful contributions, how can I miss Hacktoberfest itself? So I will not show you what Hacktoberfest is, but certainly let me give you a brief overview of the same. So you go to your browser, and I cannot find my browser because this is my browser. So the website for Hacktoberfest is hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. You can go to Google and type in Hacktoberfest. Forget it. The first link, Hacktoberfest. So you open the official website, and yes, this basically sums up Hacktoberfest. Or support open source and pick up a limited edition T-shirt or plant a tree. So you support open source, you contribute to open source, and you get a chance to take home a limited edition T-shirt or plant a tree. This one is new. This one is a new concept. It did not exist last year. If you successfully complete the challenge set by Hacktoberfest, you can ask DigitalOcean to plant a tree on your behalf, right? This is good. I like it rather. You turn your digital contributions into something for Mother Nature. It's up to you whatever price you choose, but before you choose the price, you need to click this button, start hacking. So when you click it, it will ask you to sign up with GitHub. You need an account with GitHub. It's free. GitHub is free for you to use. So this is my profile, and it will open your profile for Hacktoberfest. Initially, it will show you 0 of 4 because you have not done anything. I have completed this year's Hacktoberfest. So the challenge is basically you have to complete 4 successful pull requests. So you have to have 4 successful contributions to the open source. Like the owner should be accepting your contribution into their repository. So you have to do 4 of them, and this doesn't mean anything. The rules here will be discussed by Saknik as he shows you how you contribute to like how you actually take part in Hacktoberfest. But this is how you get signed up. You can have your profile. You can read through all of this. This part is particularly important. The rules have changed this year a bit. Last year, you could have submitted to any open source repository and would have counted towards your contribution. This year, like to reduce spam and to reduce a lot of bad requests, what they are doing is the owner needs to set Hacktoberfest topic to their repository. So if this is my repository, I will set the topic Hacktoberfest over here. So only public repositories which have this Hacktoberfest topic will be considered for your contributions. So if you're making contributions, please make sure that you have this Hacktoberfest label, and then you can freely contribute. And if the maintainers accept your pull request, this number will increase. So that was all about open source, version control, GitHub, and how to get you signed up on the Hacktoberfest website. Coming up next will be Sagnik with his plethora of knowledge on Alexa scales and how you actually contribute to Hacktoberfest. We'll be now taking a very short break. So stay tuned. We are coming back with the second part very soon. You can put all your questions you have in the chat box. Please ask. Yeah, if there's any concept which are not clear, I'm here for you guys throughout the way. So drop it in the chats and I'll be more than happy to answer you. So we'll be seeing you guys back very soon. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, please fill up your attendance in the form which we have given in the chat box. So we will be providing you with two forms like this. You have to fill up both of them to be eligible for receiving the certificate which will be mailed to you by us.
Sagnik, unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so hello, I am Sagnik. I am a technical associate here at AlexaDevelopers SRM, and we will be developing a fact skill today. So I say skill, but what is a skill? So skills are the same as apps, which you find on your Play Store or App Store. So we make Alexa skills as you make Android or iOS apps. So there are multiple types of skills. Like there can be games, there can be fact skills, there can be movie skills, there can be video skills. There are multitude of skills available there, available out there, and you can use multiple templates also. So templates, as Ananda pointed out earlier, are nothing but boilerplate codes. It's nothing. It's a code which has been pre-written for you, and you can make your small adjustments and then create your own. So I'll be going through how to create a fact skill. So first of all, to create fact skills, you need to have a Amazon developer account, or you can directly go to the Alexa developers console page. So when you first open up your page, it should look, the page looks something like this. So then you need to log in. Since I'm already logged in here, then I'll be given this option for Alexa developer console. Go on, head over to Alexa developer console. Here there will be a complete list of the app skills which you have already made or you are making currently. So to create a skill, press on create skill, enter your skill name which you want. So this will be a Hacktoberfest facts. Now you can choose models. So models are nothing but Alexa after all is a machine level language, machine learning code, and that code is trained in a particular way. So models are nothing but pre-trained models where that particular code has been already been trained and is ready to listen for particular commands. So we'll be using the custom model, and we will be hosting it on Alexa. Now this will be a fact skill. So choose fact skill here. These are the different types of templates here. As Anurita pointed out earlier about templates, they are nothing but pre-written codes, and you can check them here. So this is the official page of Alexa, the GitHub page, and you can check different templates which have been written here. So now go on and then continue with template. This will take some time. This will create a skill and train your voice model. And while this is building, let me just introduce how skills work. So skills are nothing but Lambda codes, and Lambda is a feature of AWS. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services, and Lambda is a cloud function. So what happens when you call a Lambda function is that you have a function, it's in a data center, like this one is in North Virginia, the AWS data center at North Virginia. And whenever something happens, like you call that particular function, or there's a change in the database, Lambda code listens for those changes and then automatically executes it. So Alexa similarly is a Lambda code, and whenever we call our skill, then that code gets executed. So how Alexa calls is Alexa uh, listens for particular words. So if I say Alexa start Hacktober fact skill, then Alexa searches this complete database for Hacktober fact skill, and then it finds your particular skill. When it finds a skill, it contacts the corresponding Lambda code, and that gets executed, and you get a particular response. I won't be going through the complete detail of how Alexa works. We do have a YouTube video about it. Due to time constraints, it's not possible to go through everything currently. If you have any doubts, then write in the chat box. My friends here will help you out, and even I can help you out. So now this is the page when you create a fact skill. This is the first page which you end up seeing. So first of all, these are will provide you a checklist. Okay, so they provide you a skill builder checklist as to this basically tells you that what all steps you need to complete before you can test out your skill. So first, the invocation name. So the skill invocation name by default is the same, and you can change it, but it's best you keep it like this. There are a few requirements for this. Invocation names cannot contain the words like launch, ask, tell, open, load. All these things are written here, and they need to be two words. So that these are some requirements which you have to have while creating a skill. Now, once you've checked this, then press and create build model. Now, this will take some time. It will build your model according to this particular name. Yeah, we are here to help you out, and we expect you to have doubts. So feel free. It's not even compulsory to write in the chat box. You can even speak up. But yeah, since I'll be speaking, then it will be better if you write in the chat. Others will help you out. Okay, so my full build was successful, and now I can go back. Sorry, I went back to the wrong page. Yeah, now we'll be going to intent samples and slots. For this particular skill, we do not need samples and slots. We just need intent. And intent are nothing but functions. Okay. So if you are familiar with any sort of object-oriented programming, then you should know that what functions do. And if you even if you're not, then here's what functions do. Functions are small parts of the code which execute a particular function. Functions are also called methods. So yeah, as the name suggests, they are small parts of a very big thing. So similarly, whenever you create an Alexa skill, for example, you are testing out a skill. Okay, so then if you want to close your skill, you need a cancel function. Okay, that's a particular function, the functionality that a particular software needs to have. So similarly, Alexa has a cancel intent. So that's a cancel intent. What this intent does is it calls a corresponding function which will close the particular skill. Also, if you need help, like you cannot figure out how to run the skill, or you're stuck somewhere, then there's a help intent. Similarly, the stop intent and fallback intent, everything is there. So here you can see that slot type here. This is these are labeled as required, while this one required and this one comes built in. So this one get new fact intent you see as custom. So what this is get new fact intent is a particular intent which calls the corresponding function where it gets a new fact. When I go through the code, I'll be explaining you how that particularly works. But for now, let's check this what this get new fact intent has to offer. So now when we press on get new fact intent, we see sample utterances. So as we have already mentioned, we are using the fact skill template, and fact skill templates are nothing but pre-written codes. And this particular template actually has the code for a space fact. So if I ask something to ask something, then it will return me some space facts. You can even test it out. So if you have to test it out, then just press on test and then switch on testing for this particular skill. Yeah. So since we're using this developer console, we do not need to actually follow the complete syntax as which you actually use while creating when you're testing on an actual eco device. You can just say open hacktoberfacts and this developer console will automatically create it and call the particular function. Sometimes when you're testing, this might happen that it gets confused between different skills and calls another skill which is already published instead of your own skill. That we just have to go through the statement which you have already written and then check if there's some ways in which you can differentiate it within. But yeah, sometimes that error might occur, but yeah, now for example, it worked fine. And as I said, this is a space fact skill. So here you can see that it actually returned me a fact about space, which I do not want. I need to change this. So now for the first step for changing is this. I need to change the utterance. So what utterance is a statement, and depending upon the statement which I say to the eco device, it will call the corresponding intent. So go to get new fact intent. And here you can check the sample utterances which have already been provided. So if I say open Hacktober facts and then say ask Hacktober facts for a fact, then it should call the get new fact intent. Similarly, if I say ask Hacktober facts for a space fact, it should get call get new fact intent. But Hacktober has nothing to do with space. So let me just remove these which connect it to space. You can have unlimited number of utterances. The more utterances you have, the better, because that way you have no idea as to how the user might call your code. User might use their Alexa skill, and that way you can have the maximum number of combinations of a particular utterance, and that way the UX will be better. So like I have two utterances now: a fact, tell me a fact. I can even say Hacktober facts. I can say Hacktober, and many more. So you can keep adding them. So it's not an issue. This particular skill won't need an intent slot. So we are not going to cover that. So now let's head on over to the JSON editor. Now here you see JSON editor. Here you see the different types of intents which we already have. So it's an array of the intents which we have and the name of that particular intent. And here we have samples of like this is a custom intent. So that's why we have this here. Like here you have the sample utterances which call this particular intent. So this is how it's actually stored in the code. The Alexa developer console provides you much more interactive UI, so that way building it becomes much more easier and interactive. So that way it becomes easier for you to understand. But yeah, you can develop it locally also. So now let's build this model. So it was first saved and then build was started. And now this will take some time. Depending upon your internet connection, this might take from 2 to 10 minutes. Yeah, you can use Python, you can use any language for that matter. But yeah, like Lambda is a AWS, as I've said, Alexa is after all Lambda code, and Lambda is a AWS feature. So if you have an AWS account, then you can write your custom AWS Lambda codes and then just connect that endpoint here. Okay, so my full build was successful. You can connect it to here. I cannot find it where it is. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Yeah, like here. So it's connected to a AWS ARN code, but you can even use your own Lambda codes. So you can replace the URLs here for that. But yeah, so what currently where I'm hosting it is hosted by Alexa itself. So here I'm not using my AWS account. I have a Amazon developer account. Amazon developer and AWS accounts are different. So if you write using any other language, then you can connect it to your personal AWS account. But yeah, if you want it to be hosted by Alexa itself, then there are two languages possible till now. That is Node.js, and Node.js though is not a language, it's JavaScript or Python. So you can use any one of them. Okay, so now heading over to the code. So this is what the code looks like for an Amazon skill. Sorry, Alexa skill. Like I've said, it's a Node.js. This is actually Node.js, and yeah, this is index.js. This is JavaScript file where all my intents and everything are written here. So like get new fact handler. This fact is this handles the get new fact intent. Okay, and then it checks if the particular request is indeed of the type get new fact intent. So for example, yeah, for example, if I have a particular request, like the user says, ask Hacktober facts for a fact, then it goes to the JSON file, checks which particular intent has that particular sample utterance, and then runs this code. So here the request takes the particular statement spoken by the user, checks its type if it's a launch request, and then checks it if it's an intent request or and a get new fact intent request. If that satisfies the condition, then only will it handle that. Otherwise, it will check for other intents. Okay, so now once it comes here, then it chooses a random fact. So request attributes.fact. So this is currently connected to this language strings.js file. Opening it, you see that this has facts for multiple languages. So we will currently be just going through English because I do not know Spanish or Dutch. So, but yeah, you can develop a skill which can speak in multiple languages. Like here, by default, this comes with English, Spanish, Dutch, Japanese, French, Italian, Portuguese, Hindi. Okay, so these are the languages supported by default, but yeah, you can use develop it for multiple languages. You can even add your own languages. But for now, we'll be just developing for English. So these are all space fact skills. We need to replace this. So now I'll remove these and add some random facts. Not random, related to Hacktober first. Okay, so for now I have just added two skills, two facts here. So it will randomly choose between these two facts and then return it. So like here you can see that it calls this particular facts array here and then requests an attribute from it. And then it stores it in a string called speak output. Okay, now, when it's once it's stored in the particular string, then it returns it by using the response builder. So what the response builder will do is it creates a SSML code. So SSML is just like HTML but for speech. So it returns that SSML code, and the echo device then converts the SSML code into voice and then tells you the output. There are much more things which actually go into background in the background for while running a Alexa skill. You can check that out in the YouTube video which we already have regarding a fact skill. There it has been explained in complete depth, and nothing has been left out. This I'm going very fast, and yeah, this does not have much of the things which actually go on behind the scenes. If you have any doubt, then you can ask. So is it clear till now here? So could you just acknowledge in the chat box if it's something is not clear? Okay, I hope everything is clear. Uh, if you have any doubts, then you can just speak up or you can write in the chat box. Okay, so now this should be fine. Now, since we've changed the language strings or JS file, now it won't be returning us any space facts related skills. Now we should change the name of the facts here also. So this has many more strings associated here. So this is associated here like the skill name, the get fact message. So every time when I call this particular get new fact intent, then it concatenates it with the get fact message and then adds a random fact from this array here. And yeah, so even the help message is available here, the help reprompt. So if help reprompt, what help reprompt does is that whenever the user asks for help, then then it will first say the help message, and even if the user does not respond after it, then the help reprompt message will be outputted. So it will ask, what can I help you with again? So once this help message has been spoken, then only will the help reprompt message be spoken. The fallback message also, fallback and fallback reprompt also work in the same way. So fallback, what does is that if the user does not say anything or the user remains silent, then it will just say this. And fallback reprompt will be again the same way as help reprompt works. If the user does not say anything even after the fallback message has been said, then it will say what can I help you with again. So we should change all of this. And similarly the error message and the stop message. So now first save these files and then deploy them. So this will deploy to Lambda, as yeah, as you can see, Lambda deployment initiated. And once this deployment has been done, then it should say that deployed at the time when the deployment finished. Okay, so the deployment was successful and last deployed was October 9, 2020, 6:41 p.m. So great. Now, currently our skill is not live; it's in development. So that's why this promote to live is not active now. Yeah, but if one version of your code was one version of your skill was already live and people could use it, then this would be available here. And if you're satisfied with what you have written here, then you can promote it to live. So then the live code will automatically change, and that's a basically update. So how you receive updates for iOS and Android apps on Play Store or App Store. So similarly, this will be the same thing. You'll be pushing out an update. So now we can just go again and test our skill again. So this time it should return us facts about Hacktoberfest and not about space. We give the wrong name there. Yeah, so there's our new fact. And as I said, the output was actually SSML code, so which you can check here. So this is the SSML code, and this also has tags like HTML. So you can change the tone in which Alexa says it. You by changing this SSML. So won't be showing you how to do that. Also, this is the screen which will be shown. So you can check out actually how your skill will look while running. So this develop console actually gives you everything available. So you can change it to a small hub. Currently, it's not supported, but yeah, by default medium hub is available. So medium hub is nothing but an Alexa device, so which has a screen as well as speaker. Most common one is the Echo Dot, which only has a speaker, and this was the input which we provided. So yeah, this is the basic functioning of an Alexa skill, and yeah, we have made our first Alexa skill. Great. So now this skill is perfectly fine and functioning. But now we want to do something, do changes to it locally. We do not want to go online each and every time which I want to work on it. And also, if I have to use Git, then it's not possible directly from here. So we have to go, shift it locally. Now, before we go on to that, I should probably tell you that how this actually works. So as I showed you, that the template which we chose was nothing but a template which was a code which is already written by Alexa organization itself. And what we did while creating our skill was we actually cloned it. So yeah, whenever you create an Alexa developer console, a Git account is already GitHub account is already created for you. No, sorry, not GitHub. So yeah, it's a GitHub account. Sorry, GitHub account is already created for you, and then it's cloned to that particular account, and you basically make changes to that code. Okay. So now once these changes were made, then we can just clone it to our local device. So to clone it to a local device, just open up command prompt. You can even open up PowerShell. Navigate to that particular folder which you want to have it in. Like I already have an Alexa folder, so I navigated to that folder. And now create a new folder there. Spelling is wrong. Never mind. You just go on here and then create a new folder here. It's very easy like this. Open up PowerShell here. So in Windows, to open PowerShell, press the Shift, and then you can see this Open PowerShell window here. So this should fire up PowerShell for you. Now, we will be using the Ask CLI. So what Ask CLI is, it's a basic command line interface for using Alexa for connecting your local device and your online Alexa developer console. So from here, you can deploy new codes. You can download your existing codes which are there online. You can test out your code. Everything is possible from there. So to install Alexa CLI, you need to have Node and npm previously installed. So to download Node, just go to Google and then search Node. Sorry, spelling wrong again. Node.js, and go to nodejs.org and then download the latest LTS version. So once you download the latest Node.js version, then you can an npm will be automatically downloaded. It's just nothing but you click on this link. It should download the file and then run that file, and it should work. So now to check if Node was properly installed, type in node-v. So this will check the version of Node which you have. I currently have an older version, but you should have the 12.73 version most probably. Sorry, 12.19. Yeah, so no issues. It's the same thing which will happen here. So now, if you want, if I have to install Alexa CLI here, sorry, Ask CLI is Ask CLI, so not Alexa CLI. So to install that, type npm install. This will install it and save it on a PC. Since I already have it installed, I won't be downloading it again. It will take some time. So yeah. For those who do not have it installed, then you should let it complete. So now, once the installation has been completed, similarly to check the version, just type in ask. Yeah, so I have 1.7.23 version. So yeah, it's fine. Now I have to download the particular skill which I made online. So to check all the list of commands which are available, you can just type in ask -- help. Yeah, these are all the list of commands which are available with ask. And you can even create your own skills templates locally also. But yeah, if you want to test it out, then the Alexa Developer Console provides you much more interactive UI. So yeah, I have started started the skill using the online developer console, but yeah, you could just go on and use this also. Yeah, one thing forgot to mention is that for using the Ask CLI, you need to have an AWS account. So to create an AWS account, just search AWS on Google, and you can sign into your console. If you do not have a console, then if you do not have an account, then you have to create one. You can press create a new AWS account, fill up the details. It will take your credit card number, but do not worry, it won't charge you any money unless you have completed your free quota. So each and every service in AWS provides you free quota. So while building Alexa skills, we only use the Lambda. Not only, we mainly use the Lambda and S3. So yeah, so those things have huge amount. They provide you a huge quota there. Like a Lambda, you can get 1 million calls per month. So it's more than enough for your skill. And yeah, that should be fine. Once you have an AWS account, and when you have first time you're running Ask CLI, then it will ask you for those account details. Log in using the account details, and you should be fine. And then you can start download using Ask CLI. Okay, so now here you can see Ask clone. So what this does is, if I press ask clone, it will ask me which particular skill I want to clone. As I said earlier, it creates a GitHub accounts, and then it will ask me. Ask clone works similarly as git clone. And yeah, so I can clone any one of them. So here I have Hacktober facts. So you can just select that and it will start downloading it. So it creates a folder for it, and then it will download the whole skill for you and locally. Yeah, so it was successfully cloned. Now I navigate to that particular folder. So I navigated to the particular folder. Let's clear the screen here. Now open up VS Code. So you can use VS Code, you can use Sublime Text Editor, you can use any text editor for that matter. Do not use Notepad for development because now head on over to the Lambda for page, Lambda folder here, and then we can check here the index language string.jc. The skill which I had already written is written here. Okay, so great. So now this should work fine. So I have to deploy this now on the Alexa Developers SRM page. This is not something which you guys need to do. This is something which I am doing. This actually the maintainer does. Since you guys are not the maintainer, then this you do not need to know. But yeah. These are the things which are actually good in VS Code, which you won't find in Notepad. So this comes with an inbuilt terminal. So here you can access the terminal as well as your code directly in one place only. See, this already has that particular link. So for the previous Git account, uh, now I need to remove this. So now we have linked it with a particular Git repo which we wanted to have. Now we have to add this first to the staging area. We have used git add dot for that particular purpose, and now we have to commit it. It's been committed. Now we have to push this particular code. So this was this is now in our repo. Now, if you do have a GitHub account and you do have Git repos of your own, then and if you want to opt in into a Hacktoberfest, opt in your repo into Hacktoberfest, then you need to add some labels here. So which you can check here. I am adding them here. You need to have the Hacktoberfest label. So now you can add different labels also. These labels currently due to the recent rules, then every repo which you, if you want your pull request to be considered for Hacktoberfest, then the repo which you're contributing to does need to have this Hacktoberfest label. And these labels actually help with your code being discovered on GitHub. Otherwise, your code is never discovered, and then the main purpose of open source is never achieved. So now we do have this. Okay. Now I'll be creating an issue as a maintainer. This is a sample issue. You should be more precise with what issues the particular repo has. But yeah, this is just for show. And now we can add a label here. You can just add the label here, and you can also add multiple labels here, like enhancement and good first issue, all of these, and submit new issue. So this I was the maintainer, so now it's okay. Now, if I want to do something on this, then like if I in this particular, I have to write a comment. So this time I'm not acting as a maintainer. Rather, I'm acting as a contributor a person who wants to contribute. So now I can just ask, should be actually that. Okay, Anirudh, can you make another issue? This way it won't be more confusing.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a minute. I'll do it.
Okay, yeah.
It's done. Just refresh it. So you can work on it, but you need to assign yourself. I don't have the access to do so. Sagnik, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, now it's done. So I have asked Aniruddha and I have assigned myself. So this part is actually done by the maintainer. Since I'm a part of this particular organization, then that's why I could assign myself. But yeah, so now since I'm an organization member, that way I could just directly push it. But you guys are not part of the organization. So what you guys have to do is you have to fork this. So what fork does is fork and clone do mostly the same thing, but yeah, fork actually creates a remote repository rather than creating a local repository. So yeah, see here you can see that this branches even with my Alexa SRM master. So that means there are no changes here. Then nothing new has been added, nothing old outdated is present in this repository. So firstly, I need to clone this, clone the one which has been forked. So for that, go to a different folder. I open PowerShell here and then clone it here. This will download the whole repository, and yeah, it's done. So this cloned it into Skilltober facts. Yeah, now this particular code I've got here is the code which was in my repository. So if you want to check which remote repository it actually refers to, then you could just write here git remote dash v. Yeah, you can see this is my account as this was 2209. This is my git account, and you could just you are working on that particular repository, not the main one. So now I can add a new fact here. Yeah, so now this is done. Now this is was a feature which I've added here, not a feature actually enhancement which I've done here. So now if I have to, there is another type of contribution which you can do is that is documentation. So documentation is nothing but how to use that. So I could add a new folder, not here, outside. Keep this outside here. There's nothing outside. Yeah. Now it's outside the Lambda folder. That way the structure is maintained. Though, yeah. So now in this Lambda folder, readme.md, MD stands for Markdown. So Markdown, you style basically like this. If we give single one hash, then this will be bold and title. So this will be a, and then you could just create points here. And also how to open this. So that's part of documentation to help out, help the one who is contributing, next one person who is contributing, or who's just viewing your particular repository to understand what this actually does. So now I have made this. So now I have to stage this. Now commit this. Refresh the page, and yeah. So now you see documentation was automatically created. So GitHub automatically search for readme.md file and then it provides it here. And now if you want it to be actually be open properly open sourced, and then you could add a release a license here. So for adding that license, then you could press on create new file, type in license, .md. Even if you type in a part of that word, then this option should come up. Choose a license template. You could choose any one. So this is these are one of the most popular licenses used. I just use the MIT license. Do go through this and check if it actually meets your purposes. Yeah, this will be a new commit. Okay, great. So now this we are working inside our repository. Now this license has been created and you can check this file. This was the license file created. This is the MIT license which we've used. Now our part is not completed yet though. Now we actually need to create a pull request. We have done our coding part, the part which we needed to do, and that part is done. But now we have to create a pull request. So create a pull request. Now go to over to pull request. There's a new pull request, and yeah, compare across forks. So here, this is the base repository and the branch which you're working on, and this is the same repository. But we are not have not made the updates to the same repository. We have made it in our personal repository. To go over to that part, and yeah, you see here that in our page, sorry, in the our personal repository, if they compare both the branches master, then they see that there are updates to this, and they are able to merge it. So these are the updates which we did. We have added a license, we have updated the documentation, and we have added a new fact. So now create a pull request. And now this will be merge pull request. So this will be actually be a part of, since I am the maintainer also, that's why I could do this. But yeah, since I'm not the, since if I was not the maintainer of this particular repository, then the maintainer has to do this. And yeah, the code was merged, and now we can check it here. So if we go to over to the Alexa SRM repository, then you can see that the commits titles which we had, these are already there, like added a fact, create license, all of these are there. And even if you're not convinced after this, then you can check the language streams.js file, and you can see the third fact is there. So yeah, great. So now you have successfully contributed to this repository, and yeah, your work is now finally complete. Yeah, now this was done. Now you could close this issue, or you can others could also do this. So yeah, now the that part is done, and now and now does anybody have any doubts? Now, yeah. So hopefully nobody has any doubts. So would you be willing to contribute now? Since now have you actually learned how to contribute to open source projects? Guys, please speak up. This is is supposed to be interactive session. There's nothing we could do that since due to this time. Yeah, great. So we have multiple repositories in Alexa SRM's page. You can check all of them out. They're not only fact skills, there are multiple skills here. Like this is an internship skill which helps you find internships in your city, and this is a game which was made, and this was a marble trivia game. There are multiple things like this, and yeah, you could contribute to any of them. So all of these files will also have a contributing.md file in attached with it, write your name and registration a number if you are from SRM, and if you are from SRM, then you get to stand a chance to win goodies like awesome stickers, t-shirts, and stuff like that. And you'll be featured on our Instagram pages also. And you hopefully you've learned to make your first skill too. Uh, then you can create your own skills. You can tag us also after making in your stories. After you've made that skill, we'll be featuring them too. So hopefully we have had a great session. So do you guys have anything to add, or any experiences which you've previously had, or or anything, any questions? Okay, so now since nobody has anything left to say, now you could just fill up the feedback form. So this is the second attendance sheet form also. Is the purpose is the same. So do give us your feedback here with places where we can improve. And yeah, stay tuned for further events. And yeah, also follow us on all our social media handles. So Samvartika will take you through the social media handles for now. Okay, yeah, great.
Thank you so much, Shagnik, for your contributions. Unfortunately, Samvartika is not right now available, so I'll be doing that part. I hope that you guys had a wonderful session. If you have got any queries and you are not willing to ask it today, not an issue, because we are coming back tomorrow with a bang. So tomorrow we have a tech talk scheduled. We have two amazing speakers with us. We have got Adarsh Naidu from National Institute of Technology, Karnataka. He is the DSC lead, the lead for Developers to Win community at NITK, and he is also a GSOC 2020 participant at Rocket Chat. Our second speaker, Pranshul Chitora, is an open source developer himself and also a Webpack member. It will be a great chance for all of you to hear and interact with two great seasoned developers and enhance your knowledge. We'll share the details for tomorrow's sessions with you. We hope that you really liked it, and the feedback link is in the chat. Do give us your feedback, and I hope that we'll see you guys tomorrow as well. Good night.
हाँ, तो हो गया, चलो। संवतिका, तुम हो यहाँ पे भी?
उसका पार्ट है तू। उसको रिमूव कर दो और हम लोग लीव कर देते।
अरे नहीं, कल का पूछना था, कल भी वो है कि नहीं?
उसको फिर कॉल कर ले, लाइक नॉर्मल कॉल।
हाँ ठीक है, वहीं कर लेता हूँ।
ठीक।
ओके, चलो बाय।
हाँ चल बाय। भाई ऑसम सेशन था।